Difficult. Women.
Wait.
Too late. We started.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask what we were doing.
Oh.
Hi, everybody.
What are we doing?
I don't know. What am I doing here?
We're doing Difficult Women podcast.
Oh, right.
You're Katy. I'm Marie.
Yes.
And we're in the band Reformed Whores.
Oh, my God. Thanks for reminding me.
Are you okay?
I'm great. I'm a little sunburned.
You are. You're bright as a lobster.
I know. I'm
a little hungover too?
Mostly just like sun points.
Oh.
But it's fine.
Drink water.
I
Drink
know.
lots of water.
Hydrate.
And don't apologize for it.
Okay. That's what I'm learning. Sorry.
No, don't apologize.
Oh, right.
Oh, well, we have some exciting news.
We do have exciting news.
We got an email.
We did.
And this email was, I'm going to read it and then I'm going to say what happened the night before we got this email and why it's really crazy weird that we got this email that day.
Okay, great.
After the dream I had.
Oh, I see.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
Hi, ladies. My name is Darcy, but I go by Lavinia. Ooh, I like that name.
Nice.
For my stage artist name. I am a graphic designer by day and a fire performer, metalsmith artist on the side. I have been a fan of your band for some time and saw you when you came through Pittsburgh a few years back. I saw you promote your podcast on Instagram. I follow you both and wanted to email you to let you know how wonderful it is. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
I have been going through a real rough patch, and your podcast has been the first thing to actually distract me and make me laugh. Thank you for that. As fellow lady performers, I wanted to ask you a question or at least get your input on the topic of aging on stage, so to speak. I started performing as part of a comedy sideshow about 7 years ago. Actually, I am one of the founders of the show. I was 30 when we started and felt excited with our future prospects. But the show has not become as successful as we had hoped. And while we are still working hard on getting gigs, I'm now a lot closer to 40. I feel a big part of being seen as a viable female performer to a lot of audience is being young and attractive. I don't think my two male stage partners need to worry about this at all. And I know I shouldn't. I try to be a strong feminist and think screw everyone else if they don't like what I look like. But deep down inside, I worry that I'm somehow hurting our chances of getting gigs because I'm not that cute young thing that so many other stage performers are. It is bullshit and I hate that, but it's always there in the back of my mind. Or maybe I just suck. You don't suck, honey. Do either of you ever find yourself struggling with this narrative while you are trying to keep moving forward with your band/careers? I know you both are super busy, so no pressure on responding if you don't have time. Thank you both. Keep up the amazing job in all that you do. Darcy/Lavinia. P.S. Katy, how did you get into roller skating? And P.P.S. Marie, thanks for the IG follow. Smiley face.
Yeah.
Wow. Darcy, Lavinia, thank you so much for this email.
Such a great question. Unfortunately, we don't know the answer because we're only 20. So. Just kidding.
A winker and a winker.
We started the band when we were 10. No.
Well, it's crazy.
Great question. Yes.
So I woke up the night before we got this email. I woke up at like 3 a.m. And, you know, it's when your brain is like racing and you keep thinking of all these things and regrets and what you want for the future and blah, all this stuff. And one of them was ageism. And I was thinking like, am I too old to succeed? So just in case you were wondering, yes, Lavinia, we, think about it constantly.
I thought you were going to say, yes, you are too old to
yes,
succeed.
you did. No, not at all.
And
fuck everybody.
Yeah. And I was thinking we should do like a whole, there's so
yes,
much to
that's a
talk
great
about.
topic.
We'll do an episode about that. But yeah, you're not alone.
No, it's a concept. As a
way.
woman in the arts and performing, it is definitely out there, and it's society definitely, planting that little seed in us. But
Totally. But you're seeing more, I feel like confident in where the world is going a little bit because you're definitely seeing more and more women of a certain age starting to take off. Like Bridget Everett is someone.
Bridget Everett,
Leslie
Jones.
Yeah, Leslie Jones is a good example. So there's definitely room for us. We just have to figure it out.
Right. And actually we, the older you get, the more you should be performing.
Sure.
Because we're trying to change this. We want, these young girls to go to see shows and not just those young, viable, sexy little things. We want to see the older, young, viable, sexy little things.
The older young ones.
The older young young.
Okay.
But no, I couldn't sleep because I was really, I was playing back in my head of like, you know, we had some really amazing opportunities in our 20s when we were doing the band. And, you know, what woke me up was like, oh my God, is it too late? But it's not too late. It's not at all.
Also, I think the thing
we're just getting started.
Right. And just like from a business perspective, I think that the industry is starting to realize that like 50% of the humans on this earth are female.
Right.
And and a lot of those females are over the age of 18.
Right.
So like those stories there's a whole world of stories that are still to be told. And it'd be really cool too to like, I would say just like take who you are, take all the good things, use the age. Don't try to fight against it and be like a cute young thing. Be like the mama.
Yeah.
The mama, whatever it is you do.
Yeah.
Sword swallower or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Because I think that could be a really cool thing. Go watch some Bridget Everett videos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's inspiring.
She's so inspiring. Yeah. So, well, thank you. And then the other question, how'd you get into roller skating, Katy?
Speaking of dreams, I had a dream I was on an intramural soccer team. And I woke up and then I was like, oh God, what a nightmare. and I thought, I was like, but I should join like a group activity, right? It's true. This is a totally true story.
That's so
and I
funny.
thought, what kind of group activity would I like to join? I was like, man, I wish there was a roller skating class.
Huh.
And I Googled it, and there's one in Brooklyn, if anybody's interested. And this wonderful woman, Tanya Dean, teaches roller skating with skate aerobics.
And I went with you, and it was such a bonding experience for the both of us.
So
I was so impressed with you.
Oh, it's so fun.
I was so sore afterwards.
Well, you should come again sometime if
I
you
should,
want.
yeah.
But anyway, that's how I did it.
That's neat.
Yeah.
Cool. And folks, if you want, like she said, she is a performer, and the name of her show is the Miracle Elixir Sideshow, and her website is miraclesideshow.com.
Where is she from again?
Pittsburgh.
Great. So if you're in the Pittsburgh area, look her up.
Well, thank you, Darcy Lavinia.
It's great.
For writing us. That was such an awesome email. And it'd be so cool. We're getting all these emails from women, and I would just keep it up. Like, I think it's fun to start our podcast with a question like this.
And also, like, you also gave us a great idea for a pod episode.
Yeah.
So I think
keep them coming.
I want to look more into that.
Yeah.
So,
difficultwomenpodcast@gmail.com. Send us whatever you want.
Except for gross pics. Don't send us anything gross.
No dick
Please
pics.
don't. We're done with that.
Yeah.
But speaking of podcast episodes, you kind of hinted at this one earlier.
Yes.
What is the theme today, Marie?
Why women apologize more than men.
Right. Apologizing.
Yeah.
Man, I am real bad at that.
I know.
I'm real bad. Do you know, I started to try to do like a test for myself recently because when I do like my little catering and stuff, it's really bustly in the back,
and you're in the
people
people's way
bumping
and,
around at each other and stuff. So people will bump into me constantly, and every time someone bumps into me, I say sorry, even if they bump into me. So I tried to do this experiment where I was like, instead of saying sorry, let me try to say, excuse me. Oh man, that lasted like 1 second.
Oh.
Like, it's so hard, but I really need to keep working at that. But
yeah, this is actually an intervention.
Yeah. Oh, good. Everyone comes. All the chefs.
Everybody come out now. Katy, you say I'm sorry too much.
I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry.
I say I'm sorry too much too. I mean, yeah, it's true when we're working and people bump into you. You say I'm sorry, even though they bump into you. Especially on the subway. I want people to like me. I want people to, not to, hit me.
Yeah.
So I say I'm sorry or excuse me or pardon or it's all about manners. Trying to be all
Right.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I'll bump into like a plant and be like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
I woke up this morning and apologized to my cat for not having her food.
Well, you should apologize to your cat for not feeding. I'm sorry I haven't fed you for 3 days.
She has dry food. She just wanted the wet.
She's looking at you so angry right now, but it's fine.
She's fine.
Okay.
She's got the fountain. I got her a fountain, you guys.
It's a cat fountain.
Yeah.
It's nice. I kind of wouldn't mind having like a fountain in my apartment. I don't have a cat, but just
a fountain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyway, what did you find about stuff?
Well, so...
Or what are your thoughts? Or what? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, so I'm from the South. I'm from Nashville. My mom, growing up, was really into manners. And I think maybe it was because she is not from the South originally. She's from Detroit. And so like moving her, having raised her children in the South and then being in the church, and her other friends were super Southern and genteel and, polite. that I think she really embraced that view of what that means to be a Southern woman. And so raising 3 girls, we went to manor school, like at a young age. And we went to manor school. And then at manor school, I was trying to find this book. I don't even have it in New York. I think it's still at my parents' house. But did you ever read Amy Vanderbilt's Complete Guide to Etiquette?
Was that no, I had Tiffany's.
Oh, that's another one. Yeah, I think we had that one too.
That one I got.
But I don't have it here, but I was just looking online and I found like a PDF and I was looking through, and it's just, this book was written in the 50s.
Oh yeah.
And the stuff that they, were saying of how to act, like a woman in the workplace, like it's fine for a woman to have a career, but at all times remain feminine and polite when speaking to a man. That's like, what?
Yeah, that's annoying.
You can be assertive, but not too assertive, because that may come across as bossy. Right. It's like,
Right. That's interesting it's funny to me that would be in a manners book. I guess that, like, to me in my brain nowadays, that feels so separate. When I think of manners now, I think of like table manners, and manners like about being polite. If you bump someone and you say, excuse me or something, but that idea that like, they thought that the manners extended to, like, women's behavior in the workplace versus, they didn't have a manners book for men in the work. Men were grabbing butts and stuff, all over.
Well, actually, in this guide, it does have a section for men, and I was like looking through what they were saying to men.
Pill the chair for the lady.
Yeah, something like
keep the door open for the lady, stuff like that.
And then especially how to dress. It even breaks down in this book like what to wear to a horse show.
A horse show. Yeah,
a horse show. No, a horse show. I was like, what the? But how amazing! And like,
I hope
there's a whole
like a horse hat or something. Make sure you wear your horse mask at the horse show.
But the reason why I bring this up is because I really do think, for me, it was ingrained in me as a child because of manners and like being polite and you don't. I think that we started saying I'm sorry, or you change your language to accommodate other people to make them feel taken care of or something, or like, and also to make them like you.
Right.
So I am not a clinical psychologist.
What? I got to get out of here.
Nope. I'm just a theater ed major.
You've been tricking me this whole time.
Yep. Gotcha.
Anyway, I know.
But I read this article called Why Girls Apologize Too Much. And it's written by Ray Jacobson. It was published for the Child Mind Institute. And it really breaks down, it's actually an article written for parents who are raising daughters. And I thought this was so interesting because times they are a changin', for sure. And I think that it's interesting, like if I, how would then I raise a daughter to not apologize all the time? Mm-hmm. But so first off, they break it down of like, why in the first place do women apologize more? And it's just ingrained in our psyche. And girls are often rewarded. This is what it says. Girls are often rewarded for focusing on others people's feelings, while boys are more often rewarded for asserting themselves. Mm-hmm. So, and it's when we're growing up in our adolescence, like we're really discovering who we are as individuals. Mm-hmm. And for boys, they're traditionally seen as having one of the skills that lead to, they call it, individuation.
Right.
That process. Finding yourself.
Right. And that like we're all supposed to do that.
Right.
And that like that's part of, so I read this article too.
Yes, you did. Oh my God.
That's the one I found too.
Oh wow. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but I thought it was interesting that like so in like puberty, mm-hmm. everybody like just naturally your brain is supposed to like feel like you're moving away from your parents. You know what I mean? It's your individual. But we're not, women are just not as, it's just not as, it's encouraged. And yet like, you're told two things. Right. You're told like, oh yeah, you need to be more individualized and like more confident. Uh-huh. But then you also need to make sure you take care of other people's feelings. Right. And it's very confusing. Yeah. And it's also these like unrealistic standards that we're taught that like we can't truly live up to. Yeah. And then just how hyper aware that we are. And I like that they said, girls are told to be ambitious, smart, and successful. But be confident, but not conceited. Be smart, but no one likes a know-it-all. Right. Ambition is good, but trying too hard is bad.
be assertive, but only if it doesn't upset anyone else.
Right. That's like, right. But that's what's so hard about this.
I mean, I'm always concerned about being, I mean, I think because of this podcast, I'm actually not apologizing as much for this, but for being bossy or like, you know, I've always wanted to not be, I want to be everybody's friend. Like in high school, I was like pretty popular, but only because I was friends with every single person in every single group, just because I liked everybody. But I think that like recently sometimes I manage my catering people. So I have people under me that I'm telling them what to do and stuff. And like, before I think we started the podcast is that I was afraid of being too bitchy or too bossy or, you know, but I'm also the person in charge and have a job to do and am completely responsible for, you know, I do events. And so if it's like a huge event and I'm the one in charge and so over here is not doing their job, how do you get them to do their job? And like, I used to be, when I first started doing this more manager role, I would just be very feminine, very nice about it. And then I started being very assertive because you got to just get the job done.
Well, it's interesting too that you say that because like, I think from my experience, I was a very shy, meek child.
Right.
And I definitely was taught kind of like, not children should be seen and not heard, but I think that there just wasn't a lot of encouragement for me to be outspoken, particularly. Not on purpose. It just sort of was the way that, and I was so shy. It was just what it was. And it was really, I attribute I definitely apologize too much, but I'm never worried about someone calling me a bitch. I just do not care about that. But the reason why I had to learn that skill too, and it was because of working in the service industry in New York City, because I used to manage a paint your own ceramic studio in Tribeca. Right. And like mostly people were great, but then the kinds of like entitled rich people that would come in there and the kinds of things they would demand, you know? Right. And you just have to be like, no. Right. I don't fucking care who you are. You don't get that, you know, dog ceramic thing for free or whatever. That is $18. That's what it is. You know, get over yourself. Right. Get over yourself. Or whatever the issue was. And then also because I was a manager, similarly, like you have to fire people sometimes. Right. And you have to like tell people you're doing it wrong. Right. You know, and you can't, and that is not an easy thing to just step into. It's really hard to learn how to manage and and I think specifically for women, like to be able to say like, no, you know, don't do that. Because honestly, people do look at you as a bitch and they don't look at you as like, oh, that's just the boss. Right. You know, but you know what? Then fine. Right. I'm a bitch. Right. But in the meantime, I don't apologize for that stuff. I just apologize for stupid things. Yeah. I apologize sometimes for like existing. And yet I don't apologize for like when it's my job. Like I know, you know what I mean? Like I know here are the limits. Yeah. Actually, that's really interesting. I wonder, I bet part of that is too that if I'm doing it for someone like my boss, then I don't have a problem putting my foot down and being like, whatever. Well, if it's for me, then I'm not good. See this is what I'm saying? Yeah. Is that if I'm doing it for someone else, I can be really, and especially I can stand up for other people very easily, but I don't stand up for myself that way. So if I'm, you know.
Well, I was going to say for the band, the dynamic of us, I feel way more comfortable sending you into the back room with the money guy to get the money than I do. I mean, I'm always there close by. Yeah. But you're very assertive and you're unapologetic of getting our money. Yeah. You know, sometimes we've had people be like, oh, well, I really lost a lot of money on this show. Not a lot of people, but some people. It
happens sometimes.
But it's like, you don't apologize for that. That's not your fault. No. It's like, you know, there's so many different.
A contract. We had an agreement. Right. You know, if you didn't promote well enough, that's not my fault. Right. So I think in some ways, I think that then I'm fighting for the band. Right. You know what I mean? Maybe it was my own. Yeah, and for you. Nice. Yeah. I am the man who will fight for you.
But that's interesting that you wouldn't fight for yourself.
Yeah, maybe with money more.
Yeah, maybe.
Something about money.
The most I see you apologize, and it's actually kind of cute, so I don't think it's a bad thing, and I maybe shouldn't even bring it up. But bring it up. Sometimes I see you, when we travel in the South, sometimes they don't have tea, like hot tea. And every time you order, it's so adorable, because like the waiter will come over, and you'll be like, I'm sorry, but do you have any tea?
Like
any hot tea. Every time.
Like sweet tea, iced tea.
Sweet tea, iced tea. Arna Palmer.
Just like a regular
just
hot
a hot
tea.
tea.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you do your hands like, excuse me, I'm so sorry to bother you. But I mean, that's just, it's adorable. So,
that's good.
But it's funny because it's just like, no, you just want to fucking, I mean, I just asked for coffee. If you didn't have coffee, we're going someplace else. Right. And then like, you know, you could be more assertive with the tea
thing. Give me some tea.
Give me some tea now.
Have tea.
Yeah.
You know where I think I'm gonna admit something really bad.
Yeah.
That I wish it wasn't true, but it is, and I have to work on it.
Okay.
I think I'm the most apologetic with boys that I like. I think I like apologize for being who I am. I think I'm insecure sometimes around, you know, you want to be like what they want when you like them, you know? Yeah. And so I think I tend to like diminish myself the most around the boys that I like the most. And
I've seen that.
Yeah. I think a lot of people do that.
Yes. I think, I mean, I'm sure I do that as well.
Yeah.
I mean, my thing is like going to like mother role, and I'm like, what do you need? What can I get you? What can I make? What can I do? What can I, you know?
But still, that's like sort of bending over backwards for somebody else. But sometimes that's nice. But I think that the apologizing part is problematic. Well, one thing, just back to that article, the thing that I really liked out of that article was sort of like, okay, so what do you do for these girls? Yes. And the two things that they sort of said, or that I picked up from it, was one was you praise directness. And directness, the examples they gave was an indirect response would be, sorry, I'm not really an expert on this, but maybe I can help. I do that all the time too, especially in work environments. I do that. Especially, you know, if we're working on like a music video or something and we have a man running, like the director, like we've only ever had. Right. If I ever have an idea, instead of being like, why don't we do it like this? I almost always am like, I thought of, you know, I just have a thought. This is just a thought. I mean, you can use it or not, whatever you want to do. But maybe if we did it from this angle, that's shit.
Well, so Amy Schumer, sorry to cut you off, but Amy Schumer, I found like an interview with Lily Tomlin interviewing Amy, and Amy was saying that the biggest thing she learned while being in Trainwreck, she wrote that, was that when Judd Apatow was directing, she would be like, sorry, but I was envisioning more this way. Sorry, da-da-da-da. And that she switched it and then like was more assertive, and that, and how empowered she felt by it.
Yeah. Well, and they were saying, an example, instead of saying, sorry, I'm not really an expert, maybe I can help. A direct version of that would be, I know how to do this. Would you like me to show you? I mean, why does that feel so revolutionary to just say, I know how to do this. Let me help you.
Right.
You know? So they're saying that as a mother, one thing you can do for your girls is that, you know, when a kid says, I can do that, don't be cocky. Instead go, oh, great. You want to show me or whatever, you know? Right. And if you catch your kid going like, well, maybe if I can just say, oh, I think you can do it. Why, you know, you can do that. Like, or whatever the example would be. Right. And then the other thing that I love, and not in a way that is like just to be a bitch, and this is how I really feel about this, is that disagreement is okay. Right. And we teach girls to not disagree with anybody. Right. And boys are allowed to like talk and fight and be combative, but girls aren't. Right. And that has always driven me crazy because sometimes I don't agree with you. Right. And it doesn't mean that it's the end of the world. It just means that like we don't agree.
And I do think that's something I really admire in you. And I love watching when this kind of plays out when we're out and about and something happens. Like that situation with that guy that was trying to give you notes at a comedy show. Like instead of being like sweet and genteel and feminine, whatever, polite about it, it was like, fuck politeness. How dare you? And like you I'm trying to say, not that you get aggressive, but just that your directness is right on point, and it's very clear. Right. And it's not, I don't think it's bitchy. It's just direct. Right. And that's what, I mean, I really admire that in you. And especially when you get into political debates with people. Right. You do not back down. And I mean, and it's not in a way of like, if somebody has a different opinion than you, that you're trying to necessarily sway them. It's just you're trying to just have a conversation about it and try to understand their point of view.
Absolutely. It's like trying to and for any argument, I think it's like understanding their point of view, but if you don't agree with it, that you can say like, I just don't agree with it. Right. And let's say you're in a work. So let's take this into a real world scenario for any of you out there that feel uncomfortable in your workplace with like asserting yourself. I think that then the idea is like, let's say you're in a meeting and some guy comes up with an idea and everyone's sort of like, yeah. But you're like, I just don't think that's going to work. that you can able to just stand up and say, hey, I have another thought on that.
Right.
And it's this.
Right.
And if then he's like, no, that's stupid, you could be like, well, let me explain why I think that this would work.
Right.
And instead of backing down when he says that's a bad idea, say, let me, give me a chance to explain it. That's like, that feels like so much conflict to some people.
Right.
Like
right.
so much, what is that word where you like, conflict.
It makes me uncomfortable or.
Yeah, but I mean like that, whatever it is when you confrontation. People like, and not just women. I mean, people can really hate
I hate confrontation. I really don't fight with people. Like I talked about this with my younger sister too, because her husband likes to debate with her sometimes, and she's just like, we were never raised to debate.
Right.
Like we kind of listened to the adults debate, and to be honest, the men debate.
Right.
And then we would just listen, and then that would be the law.
Right.
So I'm not good at, I was in debate and I was not good at debate in high school. But I think that's such a great trait. I kind of, whenever I am in a heated debate, I was debating a friend recently about Louis C.K. and I just want to be like, insert Katy.
Yeah.
And I wish Katy was here.
Right.
Because you could really get in there.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I think
so
that there's these balances.
You can apologize for tea as long as you
are
good at your...
Get our money.
Yeah.
And stick up for things.
Well, something I found that I thought was interesting is that, first off, there is a reality television show in the UK called The Secret Life of 5-Year-Olds.
Oh.
Have you heard of this?
No, but that sounds like a fun show, no?
I mean, yeah.
Except that you're like exploiting your children.
Yeah, they're exploiting these children and stuff. But it really, they do all sorts of like gender tests with them just to see like how boys would react versus girls. And so one of the tests that they did, their teacher did an empathy test, and she put together lemonade, and in the lemonade she put in salt, like a ton of salt. So she first fed it to the boys, and so there's like 5-year-old boys, and they all across the board immediately were like, ugh, gross, I don't like this, ew, it's gross, like please no, I don't want to drink anymore, ew, the lemon tastes bad on my tongue, it hurts. And then the girls all across the board were like, one girl just like kept drinking it.
Yeah.
Another girl was like, oh, it's delicious, I'm not really a fan of lemon. And like they all were just so concerned about hurting the teacher's feelings that they would swallow down.
That hits me so hard because like I was that child so much.
Right.
I still would do that if somebody served food that I was like, ugh, I'm like, this is great, and I just keep eating.
See, that's where I'm not like. I think if it has anything to do with my taste buds, that's all I have. I'm like, gross.
That's so interesting though too. About
that even by 5 years old,
right? But why? I wonder what that is. Like, that's got to be social conditioning.
I think where young girls are taught to be more concerned about hurting people's feelings than their own.
Right.
That's it.
I wonder, I can't quite pinpoint. I'm trying to think of my own experience. Like, when was I told, like, you need to do it like this and don't worry about you. You have to bend to other people, And obviously it wouldn't be in such, like, clear words, but I'm trying to think of like examples of a thing a parent would say or an adult would say.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't know. That's really interesting though. That's how like insidious it is, I guess.
Right.
It's like, I can't even remember.
Right.
That's fascinating.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Poor little children. And then they have like these behind the scene producers, and they both tasted the lemonade, and they're like, oh my God. Cause I was like, maybe it's not that bad.
Yeah,
and then
like, no, it's really bad.
It's terrible.
One thing too a little quote from this, I saw this other article. It was talking about like apologizing and all that stuff. And one quote I thought was really useful and powerful too, because you're saying like, well, okay, so you're saying the difference between like little boys and empathy and little girls and empathy, right? Well, they're saying and you've already kind of hit on this, but this idea that like women tend to apologize more because they have a lower threshold than men for what they consider offensive. You know what I mean? But offensive meaning like, oh, I bumped you. That was offensive of me. You know what I mean? That kind of offensive. So they say like, if a man deems an infraction egregious enough, then they apologize. That's normal, right? Like you think, oh, I did something wrong. Let me apologize. But the problem is that they find very few infractions deserving of an apology, whereas women are apologizing for just about everything they do. So it's like that sort of, and they say that like women's tendency to apologize is they're socialized into a passive mindset and to be people pleasing from an early age. And apologies have become our de facto way of communicating and a way of filling the silence and to keep the peace when interacting with others. So something about keeping the peace too. And I thought this was interesting. They were saying too that you said earlier, it's also a way to like be liked, try to be liked.
Right.
So it's like we preempt what we think people are thinking about us with an apology, as if to say, I already know what you're thinking and I'm sorry for who I am and what I do and what I am. And a lot of people do it out of habit, where like that comes from childhood where they were felt that they were wrong and they were fearful of punishment or something. So they're feeling a lot of anxiety. So it can come from like anxiety too. And then I just loved this quote. They said, apologizing when we have done something wrong is a real strength, but sorry, burping.
I thought you were crying. I was like, don't cry.
No, I just was like choking on my own spit. Apologizing when we have done something wrong is a real strength, but compulsive apologizing presents as a weakness at work and in personal relationships. So the bottom line is, ladies, we got to like reel it in, right?
Right.
So here was a couple ideas of like how to help stop that kind of behavior. And they were saying, first, you need to have an awareness that you want to change, an awareness that you're doing it, right?
Okay.
Then every time you do it, every time you apologize excessively, you have to pay attention to it and go, oh, I'm doing it right now.
Right.
So you have to catch it. Then it's really helpful if you have a friend or somebody around you call you out when you do it, because sometimes you may not realize you're doing it. And then also, then once you are about to apologize, when you start to catch it, start swapping out the apologies for other phrases. So they were saying, instead of saying, I'm sorry, say, excuse me, pardon me, go ahead, after you, your turn. Okay? Instead of saying, sorry to interrupt you, you could say, I'd like to add, I have an idea.
Whoa.
I'd like to expand on that. And just be more direct. It's sort of what I was saying before.
I'd like to add.
I'd like to add. Instead of saying, sorry to complain, say, thank you for listening.
Oh. Huh.
Instead of apologizing in an email, consider saying, thank you for catching that. I appreciate you bringing this error to my attention. Thanks for flagging the issue for me.
Oh, I like that.
And also, if you're running late, instead of saying, sorry, I'm late, say, thank you for waiting for me.
Oh.
And just take some of the habitual apologizing out.
Right. Well, continue.
I was just going to say, one thing that kept coming up in all these articles, that I think they were all coming around at the same time, was a reference to this Amy Schumer sketch about the apology
I watched
thing.
that.
And I watched it too. And it is, go watch it, you guys, if you're interested in this topic. Like, it is so perfectly done. It's it's kind of subtle at first, and then it gets like ridiculous. And it's so familiar.
Right. It's like these scientists, right? On stage.
Like these like very
incredibly.
Women that have like accomplished a lot.
Yeah, Nobel Peace Prize winners or, scientists that saved millions of lives.
Right.
And they just keep talking. They keep apologizing and they can't even.
For silly things.
Yeah.
By the way, I just wanted to say that, not that anybody really cares, but that all that information I just was reading was from NBC News. An article called How to Stop Saying I'm Sorry All the Time and What to Say Instead, I think. I don't know. I'm not citing that well. Come get me, NBC.
NBC.com. Well, I was reading on prevention.com, which I've never been to before, but now I'm here, that there are 10 things that you should never apologize for.
Oh, okay.
So here's the list. And so this is so interesting. Number 1, winning that Scrabble match, or the one-on-one basketball game, or that baking competition. Moral of the story, never apologize for being good at something.
Oh my God.
Fucking own it. They don't say fucking, but I said fucking own it.
I'm real bad about that.
Me too. I mean,
really hate things.
Yeah. It makes me uncomfortable in some ways of like
it makes
beating
me feel
somebody.
bad.
Yeah,
because I want someone to feel bad.
Yeah, but that's what they say. Boys, young boys, like they don't
do
care about the losers. They compare. They're when they win something, they're like, haha, to the competitors. But girls are worried about the losers. I'm like, are you okay?
Right.
Number 2, when someone bumps into you.
Right. Okay. We already covered that.
Yep.
I'm terrible at that.
Number 3, your 5-minute long Starbucks order. You're the one paying for it. Drink whatever you want, lady.
Maybe just go to another coffee shop. That's another thing. Well, actually, I think you should apologize for that, but that's just a personal thing.
I do give a big old eye roll when it's like, I would like a macchiato with
Just don't order that stuff. I mean, I know. People love their Starbucks. You can drink what you want.
Sure. There's lots of sugar in it, folks. Okay.
Whatever.
Number 4, taking a minute or a day or a week to think over a big decision.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
That one's good. I'm a Libra, so I take a long time sometimes to make decisions.
I'm a very like, we got to write my name.
Yeah, and I'm like need time. I definitely need time.
Yeah.
That's
good.
interesting.
So don't apologize for that. And I won't ask you to.
Well, if you do, I'll be like, I'm not sorry.
Number 5, my grandmother used to do this all the time. The meal you busted your butt over. If your guests don't like pineapple upside down cake, then they should have baked dessert themselves.
I hope my mother's listening to this episode because she is the worst with that. She'll make this beautiful meal and she'll make it's too dry. This isn't good.
And she immediately apologizes.
Yeah, and
for
it's
it.
like I didn't.
She is one of the greatest cooks I've ever.
Amazing.
Unbelievable.
And we have told her from day dot, don't do that.
Yeah, my grandmother used to put down like an incredible goose that she had spent all day, slaving away at, and then immediately apologize for it. And then you're just like,
it kind of ruins your experience of the meal.
Yeah.
You don't need, honestly, what I would tell my mom is like, you don't have to say, look how good this is, but you don't have to say, look how terrible it is. You could just say, food is here.
I usually, if I know something I've cooked that it's like something's off, I'll immediately be like, just add some sort. It needs some more salt.
Oh, yeah.
Or like put some hot sauce on
like,
it.
this didn't turn out how it
Yeah.
No, or just be like, it is what it is.
Put it in your mouth.
Or like, I'm known for my potato salad, and bitch, I'm never going to tell you that that's not a good potato salad. I mean, sometimes I'm like, this here.
Yeah, I remember there was one year you were like, it needs more, I don't know,
it was so
something.
funny though. What was funny
So
about that
good.
though is like that year I was like, so I don't like a lot of salt in my food, so I'll tend to sometimes under salt a little because I'm a white girl. I guess I'm like under seasoned. I'm like so typical. But so I brought this potato salad, and it was like I thought most people would probably want more salt in it. So I kept telling everybody, you can add a little salt, like it needs a little salt. And then finally, I think Julia was like, "Do you want me to put more salt in it?" And I was like, "No!" It's like, "Don't touch my potato salad."
Oh, that's funny. Number 6, your appearance. Since when did it become necessary for your outfit, hairstyle, and makeup to look their absolute best at all times? There are so many more important things.
That's a good one.
I apologize for what I'm wearing all the time.
I mean, I probably should apologize for what I'm wearing all the time. But still, even it's like, this is what I put on today. I should just
well, immediately when I hang out with my gay guy friends, immediately I feel judgment. And then I immediately am like, I'm sorry, I didn't really have time. Like I was just out. And like even for gay pride, like I had worked all day. And so I was just in this stupid outfit from work, and then I was up in the pride, and like I wanted to go to this other party, but I wasn't dressed right. And I didn't go. I missed out. Should have just gone.
I should have just gone. That's too bad.
I was looking rough. But nope, never gonna apologize for that anymore.
Like, I look crazy, and that's okay. That's my new motto.
Number 7, needing some alone time. It's understandable and essential, not selfish. I need to do that more.
Yeah.
Number 8, asking your partner to try that. Oh, this is okay. Sorry, I interrupted myself. It's a good one.
You just apologized to yourself.
I did. Oh no. Sorry, Marie. Asking your partner to try that position that feels just okay for him, but amazing for you.
Oh, I don't have a problem with that. So you have that's been hard for you to like.
Well, I mean,
say.
Sometimes, I mean, I know certain positions that I love.
Right.
And like, I just need to, even if it's not their favorite, it's my favorite. So I shouldn't apologize for it. We're doing it.
Oh, yeah. Well, you can, we'll do lots of different things in the room.
Yeah. That's why I got the dice. You roll the dice and you do that position.
Have you ever played that pig game? Someone was playing it the other day. It's like these two little pigs, and you roll them like dice, and whatever position they land in, then you win. I don't know. You did
the pig position?
No, but I was thinking you could use that for sex. Or like you have two people, you throw them like, wait, you go in this position, I'll go in this position. We'll like put it together. Anyway, if nobody knows that game, and they're gonna be like, what the fuck is she talking about? It's fine.
I like that. Number 9, disagreeing with someone's opinion. As long as you make your point respectfully, you're 1,000% entitled to it.
I love it. I love that one.
Yep.
We just talked about that.
And then number 10, crying. Period.
The only reason I laugh at that is because I cry. I've cried all over New York City.
Oh yeah.
Just like that idea of just being like, I don't know if I don't think I always feel like I need to apologize when I'm crying, but
if
maybe I do.
The only time I feel shame is like when I'm on the subway sobbing. And just everyone's
kind of got over that.
Yeah.
Do you know the other day I started laughing so hard in the subway? Someone sent me the funniest meme I've ever seen in my life, and I was crying laughing. I was laughing so hard, and that was almost more terrifying. That made me more uncomfortable. Than people were like, "What's wrong with her?
Look at this happy woman riding the subway.
Happy?
What's wrong with her?
Yeah.
Why is she so happy?"
Those are good. That's a good list.
Yeah.
As you were reading that, I thought of one thing that I'm really happy for. That sort of helped me with my apologies, and it's #SorryNotSorry.
Oh yeah,
because I feel like I can play that off. I feel like I'm apologizing, but then not apologizing, and it can be kind of funny, but also like it alleviates my anxiety in terms of like feeling like I need to apologize. I don't know if that's a good thing or if it's or a bad thing, but I appreciate whoever invented #SorryNotSorry. Thank you.
Thank you. That's really helped
I will
some
use
of us
to my deathbed.
Right. #SorryNotSorry.
Like, can I get some Jello? #SorryNotSorry. Like when I'm in the hospital, like dying. I'm going to use it forever. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I hope that whoever's listening, if you have a young daughter, this is really hitting you right now, and you can.
Yeah. Or if you yourself, or if you're a gentleman who feels like you apologize too much, no problem.
Yes. Or if you're a lady, you say it too much.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to really stop saying it.
Me too. I feel like enough is enough.
I said it today at the gym. A woman hit me.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Someone punched me in the face.
No, she just bumped into me, but it was hard and it hurt. And I said, I'm sorry. I was like, wait, and then I was like, we're about to record this podcast. I need to not do that anymore.
And then you were like, actually, bitch.
Yeah, and I pulled her hair and I'm not saying sorry. #sorry, not sorry.
Perfect. You know what thing I'm not going to apologize about?
What?
Asking our listeners, if they're enjoying this podcast, to go out and tell your friends to listen to, because that will really help us get out into the world.
Get all the Horios out there.
Absolutely.
To like us. Yeah, we're just asking. We're not going to apologize for that.
Nope. And if you want to follow us on Instagram, we are Difficult Women Pod.
Yep, that's right. Or a band Reformed Whores.
Absolutely, that's great.
See that. Individually, you're Katy Frame on Instagram.
Katy.
And I'm Marie Merica. You can look that up too. Follow us all over the place.
Why not?
Send us questions. Send us stories.
Yes.
Send us. I'd love to hear from women that have been saying sorry and then maybe try for a week to not say.
Oh my God,
I'm sorry.
How about this? Let's all do this together.
Yes.
For this next week. We're all gonna not say I'm sorry too much, and then we'll send us emails and tell us how it's going.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds great.
Great,
ladies and gentlemen.
We love you.
We do.
We'll talk to you later.
Totally do.
Bye.
See you next
Tuesday.